Hey, welcome to Draw Tip Tuesday. My name is Koosje Koenen and I'm here to guide you on your creative journey as I am on my own creative journey. So let's do this together. Today I want to do a little demo using a brush pen with water-soluble ink, and I'll show you why that is fun to use. I really like using brush pens. I'm not talking about the brush markers, which are also really great, but today we are really talking about the pens that have ink in them, and they are like fountain pens, only the tip is not a nib but a brush. So today's exercise is also really good if you do not have a brush pen. You can just use a brush and ink, and there you go. Let's do this. There are many brush pens on the market, but just reaching into my stash of art materials, these 3 pens are what I've got to show you. Always in my toolkit is the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. I love this pen. It comes with waterproof ink in cartridges, which you can also buy separately. It's great for combining with wet media like watercolors. I'll be using this black Pentel Color Brush Pen today. It comes in all sorts of colors, so that can be fun to play with too. With this pen, when you run out of ink, you can simply buy a new barrel and replace the empty one. The ink is water soluble. Here's another idea. This Pentel Aquash water brush pen is normally used with water in its barrel, so you can watercolor on the go without using cups of water and a loose brush. But I filled this one with red ink, so now it's also in my brush pen collection. The bristles of all these brush pens are synthetic, by the way. Also, you might think that I'm sponsored by Pentel, but that's not true. I just really have good experiences with these pens. It takes a bit of practicing to draw with a brush pen, so if you're new to it, first get a bit familiar with the feeling of the soft brush on the paper. You get a thicker line when applying pressure and a thinner line with less pressure. You can hold it closer or further away from the tip. And just like when painting with a brush, you'll notice a difference in effect when you do so. For using a brush pen, which works more fluid than a normal pen, you need to learn to let go of control, at least a little, because the line isn't always that predictable and the brush will detect shakiness or hesitancy, which is all great and adds a lot of interest and character to your line. Okay, let's draw. Hanemühle sent me this awesome square sketchbook with lightly toned watercolor paper in it. I cracked it open and have done a couple of drawings in it, and I like the paper a lot, so today's demo will be in this sketchbook. As you know, everything is interesting when you draw it, so once again I will grab my keys as my subject. It'll be great to show you how to not get too much into details and to make use of the water-soluble ink too. I'm using a light touch to capture the outlines. For the darker parts of the subject, I'll apply a bit more pressure for a thicker and darker line. Using a brush pen is just like using a good brush and a bottle of ink to dip it in. Except you don't need to dip. You can just keep drawing. And if you want more ink to come out of it, with this pen you can gently squeeze the barrel a little and more ink flows out. Be careful though, you might end up with blobs. Usually, once the ink is flowing, it's flowing, and you don't need to squeeze out more. I'm adding drop shadows, which I can soften by diluting it with water from my plain water brush pen. Keep a piece of paper towel handy to wipe off excess ink or to dry your brush when needed. Just touching the edges of the ink lines already does a lot, and you can add some gray here and there with the ink that's left on the tip of the water brush pen. You have to be careful not to touch the lines you want to keep clean and sharp. It's easy to overdo it, but just a few touches already give great effect. I hope you will try this. Everything is interesting when you draw it, and especially when you are trying something that you're not so familiar with, this material for example. Don't go and chase for the right subject to draw. No, just draw something that is available to you. And keys are actually really great to draw and quite challenging too. So go ahead and try this. And if you like my mantra, everything is interesting when you draw it, then you probably will like my book too. The title is Life is Better When You Draw It, and the title actually says it all. If you want me to keep you in the loop about the progress of the book, then you can sign up for my email newsletter about it, and I will send you an email as soon as I have news. I will add the link below this video, and I will see you next week. Bye!